This is actually my office I'm in. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. Today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling. I want everyone to know someone is listening. Even with health issues, addiction, recovery, right? So I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. And my book is now on audio, guys, with my voice. Simon & Schuster wanted to do that with someone else's voice, and I was like, no way. It had to be coming from me. So my producer, Ruben Rodriguez of Hamilton Radio and Iron Horse Films, is now doing audiobooks. So if any authors out there are interested, please, please reach out. Guys, listen, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. I want to give a shout out to a few of my sponsors. First, I have John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. So, guys, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to him and his wife, Lenny. They put this luncheon on once a month. It's $20. You get incredible entertainment, a great lunch, and guess what? They don't keep a penny of it. So I just want to say thank you to both of them because what they do is unbelievable and they promote all of us unbelievably. So thank you to both of you. Okay, then we've got Stormin' Norman Selden, guys. 732-245-4777. www.storminnormanselden.com, booking dozens of attractions for concerts and performances on venues of all sizes. He's got from a 5 to 12-piece band, and he was in here recently with his keyboard, and let me tell you something, he is a beast on it. A lot of people don't know this, but he helped get Larry Chance from the Earls back in the day started. The song Remember Then, that's right. And, you know, Larry was like family to me, and he's now in heaven, and he's singing up with Elvis. So, Larry, rest in peace, sweetheart. We love you, and I know you're happy. You're with Elvis, baby. Then we've got Michael D'Amore, singer, songwriter, performer, entertainer. www.michaeldamore.com. So, guys, I don't usually say this, but everyone who knows me knows I'm a huge oldies, Elvis, and doo-wop girl. Okay? I mean, Elvis is up here, baby. Up here. Nobody could touch Elvis, right? But Michael comes pretty close. Michael's range is off the freaking charts. Everybody check him out. Michael D'Amore. Unbelievable. Okay? Then we've got Michael Zanman, singer, entertainer, performer. www.mzanman.com. And he is awesome. He will have you cracking up while you're listening to him. He's a great entertainer. We love Zanman. I want to tell you a really cool story. So a few months back, Zanman puts on Facebook Mel Carter's song, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me. He recorded it and posted it. Well, he didn't know it, but I sent it to my buddy Mel. Mel calls me and says, your boy did a great job with my song. I said, can you tell him? We got Zanman on the three-way and surprised him. And Mel Carter told him, you did a great job with my song. Can you imagine that? Now, keep Mel Carter in prayer. I believe he's home now. He was in the hospital for a while. So just keep him in prayer, okay, guys? We're not ready to lose you, Mel. And then we've got John Monforto, the man of many faces, singer, actor, celebrity impersonator, tribute artist. So I gave him the title, the man of many faces. He does over 30 characters, and I mean amazing. But he was given the title by a former Philadelphia mayor as the official Philadelphia Rocky impersonator. Guys, he is Rocky, okay? My three favorites, of course, Rocky, The Godfather, and Elvis, baby. Thank you. Thank you very much. www.johnmonforto.com. I was honored the last few years with my producer here covering Let East, and Michael Zanman opened for Michael D'Amore, and then we finally got John Monforto into the mix. So it was amazing. And last but certainly not least, Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be, singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time, guys. And he also does Elvis for me. All right, thank you very much. So that's that. So now, let's introduce my really amazing, cool guest, okay? So first of all, Pat McLoughlin, say hello to everybody.
Well, hello, Geri, and hello, everybody. Nice to be here.
How are you?
Well, I was joking with you. I'm not too bad for an old guy. I've been dealing with concerns health-wise, and I'm looking at myself here, and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm looking pretty good after what I've been through. So.
You are looking pretty good. Come on.
Oh,
all right?
Thank you.
So
yeah,
now,
thank you.
This guy's with the CYRKLE.
Yeah.
Okay, CYRKLE. The mic is yours. Tell everyone about your journey with the CYRKLE.
Oh, I'll happily do that. May I start with, just since you were kind enough to spell the name, and just let everybody know, if they don't already, that name was given to the band by John Lennon.
Okay.
He names the band. What was going on in the 60s was a band called the Rondells out of Easton, Pennsylvania, and the Rondells were starting to make it, and had been signed by Brian Epstein, who was the manager of the Beatles. He was also the manager of such people as groups as Jerry and the Pacemakers, Billy J. Kramer, and the Dakotas.
I interviewed Billy J.
Oh, I love him. Great guy. Really nice man. I'm happy that you did that. That's cool.
I love him.
Anyway, and Epstein decided he wanted to bring his business model. He was really successful in Great Britain, and he wanted to bring it over to the USA. And he comes over and he starts doing this in the middle 60s. And the first band, and turns out the only American band that he managed, was the CYRKLE. And when the band he felt the band needed to change its name, he went back to, as our founding member Don Daneman says, he referred to the Beatles as the Boys. And so he goes back to the Boys and says, I've got this American group we're working with, and I needed a new name. And it was Lennon that came up with the name of the CYRKLE and the quirky spelling. And thus we have history.
Why, though? What made him...
Well, why did he pick CYRKLE?
Yeah.
Well, there are a few theories, but I'll give you mine. And that I read in all my research on the CYRKLE that the Beatles were working on the Revolver album at the time, but it wasn't called Revolver yet. It was just a working title called the CYRKLE. They also debated they also debated on calling the album "The Four Sides of the Circle," and so that word is in Lennon's brain, even though they are no longer going to use that as the album title. And so it doesn't surprise me that the name Circle occurs in his brain. But then I don't know him, but I do know him because I admire him a great deal. He's a quirky thinker in those days, and he comes up with this really unique spelling, which also fit very well. I interviewed Chris Hillman in on my radio show, and Hillman took note of the Circle's spelling and thought, well, that's really cool. You're spelling your name with a Y in the same way that we spell the birds with Y.
Okay.
And so it was a good decision on Lennon's part. We brought it back. Now, when Danneman gets the name, Danneman's in the studio and he's looking at this Brian Epstein business card, and on the back is the words "The Circle," which has been scribbled. And Danneman says to Epstein, "What is this? Crickle? Is it crackle? What am I looking at here?" And he goes, I'm not going to do a very good impersonation, but no, Don, that's the Circle. The Circle is your new name. I asked the boys, and they came back and give us this name for you, and we like it. And there is how the band changes right in the studio to the Circle from there.
You did a great job.
How was my accent? Did I do okay?
You did a great job.
Well, thank you very much.
So, okay. So, let's talk about the Beatles first.
Sure.
Okay, how was it, opening for them, meeting them? Come on.
Well, but let's just make sure everybody understands. I'm the person that brought the Circle back together in 2016.
That's right.
And so I can only tell you stories shared with me by Don Danneman.
Yep.
Don, of course, is still in the band, and it's amazing. He's so acute mentally, physically. He moves all over the stage. He's got all these dance moves, and it's amazing. But he does tell stories, and he says, as one example, when they were on the plane, they all traveled together. There was all the acts and everything traveled together, but the Beatles had their own compartment that had been walled off on the plane. And so the first time they're on the plane, they're like, "Oh God, are they ever going to come out? Are we going to get to meet them?" They were as big a Beatle fan as anybody. And as Don says, finally the door opens, and there's Paul. And Paul, he describes, was always very jovial and kind. He actually went to every row, shook hands with everyone. And when he got to Don, and his bandmate was in the same next seat next to him, his name was Tom Dawes. We lost him back in the early middle 2000s. But they didn't, they were like I would be. Hey, hi, this is Don Danneman. Hello, how are you? This is Tom Dawes. Hi, how are you? And then they couldn't think of anything else to say, so eventually Paul moved on to the next row, and they debated for hours on the plane flight about how could we have been more cooler, is what they wanted to do. They did play cards with the Beatles in the hotel on occasions, and he described them as being very kind because the Circle members didn't have the wealth that the Beatles had already started to accrue by 1966. Okay. And so they were just playing for nickels and dimes and quarters and didn't make any attempt to try to use their influences on them. Lennon would come by and go, "I'm going to try to do a John Lennon for you now. Hello, Circle, do you like your name? Have you learned to spell it?" So Lennon was there. He had a great conversation with George Harrison. Don tells, really meant something to him in a kind of a meet and greet between the acts. And he didn't say anything negative about Ringo, but Ringo just didn't seem to be around them very frequently to be able to interact with them. He described the atmosphere during these shows as unbelievable. Just the electricity was just remarkable, as Don explains it. And of course, I saw a lot of it on video. I have no reason to doubt that what I was seeing could be amplified by 10 when you're standing right there with them.
Right.
And if you didn't know, or if your viewers didn't know, the last show that the Beatles did was in Candlestick Park. That was on, I'm trying to think, August 29th of 66. And the Circle was there. The Circle was the opening act for that entire 66 tour. And so they are there. And Don says he kind of was watching Harrison taking photos. And he said, "Well, why are you doing that?" And George said, "Well, we don't know how long we're going to be doing this again. I just want some memories." And so, but in that moment, Don didn't think that would be the last time the Beatles would perform a ticketed show.
Wait.
So
hold on.
Sure.
So I was 5 years old in 1966. You're telling me that was the last time they toured together?
in '66 was the last time the Beatles toured the United States or the world. They stopped as of August. I'm pretty sure it's the 29th of August '66. The only other time they ever played again publicly was on the rooftop in 1970. But that was just that was a free event that they just put on top of the building.
You know what's weird? I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
the reason why it's crazy to me is they were so popular when
Yeah.
I was growing up.
Yep.
I'm a teenager and we're still loving the Beatles, thinking that they were still touring.
I agree. Yeah, but they were not. They did not tour again after August of '66. They went into the studio. Part of their frustration, as I understand it, is that they were getting more and more developed in the studios and creating sounds that at that time were not able to be recreated on the stage. And the other issue they had was lots and lots of screaming. And really, you don't have a life on the road. You just go from hotel to stage back to the hotel. They didn't do a lot of touring like we do, as an example. If we're out in Arizona, we go see the Grand Canyon. We're in Buffalo, we go see the Niagara Falls. So they didn't have some of those freedoms. I think they just grew tired. Plus, they had a lot of problems over in Europe and Asia on that tour.
Plus, listen,
Yeah.
that makes me love them even more that they were still that famous. To this day,
Oh.
everyone knows the Beatles. And
So
in '66,
let's that's right. Let's take a look at that point you're making. So I'm a huge fan of the Beatles. As soon as they came out, they influenced me to want to be a musician, and that was in 1964. Now, can you imagine in a discussion if I was in 1964 and I said, there was this band back in 1904
right.
who was really, really good. And I mean, it's mind-boggling in a way, but their material's so timeless. But it's mind-boggling. It's over 60 years since I
Right.
saw them for the first time.
Okay, well, I'm going to be talking about this because I had no
Sure.
idea. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Oh, absolutely. Happy
Wow.
to do it.
Okay, so now let's talk about your musical career and what
Okay.
made you want to rehash the circle.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a kind of long answer since you said my career.
Okay.
I to that very point when I saw the Beatles in February on the TV show called Ed Sullivan,
Yep.
it was already a big deal. We were all interested in their long hair, but when I saw what was going on, I don't know what happened to that 12-year-old boy, but he wanted to be in bands. Unfortunately, my mother and particularly my father, 100% against that concept. 100%. They would not allow me to take guitar lessons or anything associated with the band. My father was somebody who wanted, he pretty much had me planned out, if you will, I guess. He wanted me to be an accountant. He told me I was going to the Ohio State University where I would get my accounting degree. And nothing else was acceptable. Even when I switched my degree, by the way, at Ohio State, and I became a marketing major, he was so mad at me that night. Oh my God, you really let me have it. So music was out. And I didn't get my first guitar until I was 27 years of age. At that point, I'm now married. I've got a child. I have a full-time job, and I'm in graduate school. And I eventually get my master's degree in 1985. And there's a point in time where I did everything that Dad wanted and more. I outdid him. And he didn't have a leg to stand on when it came to trying to be critical of me going into music. So I did go into music, and I had to find bands. I mean, I got into it, fortunately, by being a songwriter first. I wrote a song and submitted it to this is going back now, and it was in the middle 80s, like 82, something like that. It was Levi Jeans and the company that put tobacco between your cheek and gum. I can't think of the name of it,
Okay.
but that was their ad campaign, and they were looking for country songwriters, country music songwriters and such. And I sent my studio. I went to studio and cut a song, and they came back and said, "Congratulations for your region. You're one of the 4 finalists." And that was a big shock to me. And they said, "You and your band will be performing at this date and time at this location." And I was like, "This is really great." But then I realized I didn't have a band. And so I went back to the studio players and asked if they would help. And for the first time in 1983, I stood on a stage with my guitar for the first time and played to a live audience. And boy, did the bug hit. Well, it's like I think if you talk to any of your artists, I've never had a drug, so I can't speak to drugs, but I gather that once you have your first experience, you always will want that experience again.
Yeah.
And it never quite lives up to that first moment. And so for me, I'm always to this day trying to get back to that first moment. I couldn't control my emotions. I was so excited. I loved it. I just couldn't get over how great it felt. And I continue that way. But I think this is a positive, not a negative, because I am really driven to try to get as far as I can career-wise, even at this juncture of my life. So the band was called Cimarron, and Cimarron stayed together from '83 until just around the turn of the century in 2000. At that point, and by the way, we got invited to Nashville. The band actually we cut an album called Incognito. Everybody, that is still for sale. If you want to buy it, Incognito. It can be purchased on Apple, any internet store you can get it at. The people in Nashville were very high on a number of those songs, but one in particular was one that I had written called "Lady Di," and it was a very playful view of what I was viewing in the middle '90s with Princess Diane. She couldn't go anywhere. People taking her picture all the time. She had no privacy, guards all. And my song was why don't you just give up that lifestyle and come on over to the U.S. and date a cowboy like me? And we'll sit by the pond and we'll throw rocks in the water and we'll have the shade of the trees. And you don't need guards when I'm around, so you're going to be okay. And they thought that was going to be a big hit. And about we cut that in August, I think, of '97. And she died right at the end of August of '97. And I've mentioned this before to people. I don't mean to turn that event around. It was a tragic event, but I took it very personally because I knew that song died.
Yeah.
When she died.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
so they released the album a year after that. They put a disclaimer in about Princess Diana, which it didn't help anything at all. And the album tanked in the USA. However, eventually it makes its way to England. And there was a guy over there named Lee Williams who was in charge of the largest internet country music network in Europe. And he took a liking to Lady Di. And he writes me an email and he says, "Do you have any problems if we put this song? We want to see if they are over her." And then 2 weeks later he wrote back and he says, "Pat, they're not over it yet." He says, "So we're pulling it, but we see some other songs on that album that we would like to release with your permission." And I said, "Sure." So they took a song I wrote called "My Green Eyes" and they released it. And about 3 weeks later, I get an email from Lee. He says, "Congratulations, your song is now in the top 40," which blew me away. It debuted at 19. It made its way to 17 the next week. The next week it was 13. Week 4 it was 11. And week 5, couldn't wait for week 5, 24, and then 37. And for my first taste of what it's like to be on the charts, the next week we were off. But it was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
And he writes back again. Or actually, I've been talking to him at this point, but he says, "You are hot right now," he says. "So we want to release another single." And this is, by the way, around 2009. And he said, "So can we release a song called 'I Believe She Believes She'll Be Leaving With Me,' which was another one of my compositions." And that too charted. He comes back rather quickly and says, "You're on again." And he says, it's like came in at 30, made it all the way up to 21, hung around for 12 weeks on their charts, but never broke higher than 21. But I felt very good about that. And then his next message to me was, "Well, we'd like you to get another album made so we can do some more material." And that's where this catch-22 came in, because if you're paying attention to the timelines, there's a 10-year gap between that album was made. And by that time, I completely left the band. I formed a new band called the Gas Pump Jockeys, an oldies band, because my aspirations were I wanted to get into fairs and festivals and things of that nature. So by the time this album is hitting, Cimarron is no more. That's the name of the band, Cimarron. So that story has a kind of a weird ending to it, but that's how it came about. I do encourage you guys to go out there because I still listen to it. It has that '90s country feel, but it's a really good album that we did.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's give everybody a treat. We have 3 songs we're going to be playing.
Sure.
So, producer, let's play our first song. Producer, let's play our first song, baby. Here we go.
Yeah.
My name is Pat, it's nice to meet you, can I tell you, baby? Look around, there's a whole lot of pretty ladies, but none like you shine so bright. Yeah. I was wondering if you and me could spend a minute out on the floor, getting close and getting lost in it. I won't give up without a fight. you to dance with me tonight. So come on, whoa, come on, baby. I just want you to dance with me tonight. We're getting sweaty, hot and heavy, hear the crowd now. Loosen up and let your hands go downtown. Go with it, girl, yeah, just close your eyes. Yeah, I feel the music moving through your body. And looking at you, I can tell you want me. Don't stop now, girl, till the morning light. When I saw you there, sitting all alone in the dark, acting like you didn't have a care, I knew right then that you'd be mine, and we'd be dancing the whole damn night. I said, yeah, come on, baby, I just want you to dance with me tonight. So come on, whoa, come on, honey, I just want you to dance with me tonight. Now break it down now. Yeah, shake it like that. Now bring it on back and dance with me tonight. One more time, come on now. Yeah, shake it like that. Whoa, bring it on back and dance with me tonight. No, come on, baby, I just want you to dance with me tonight. I said, come on, baby, I just want you to dance with me tonight. Come on, yeah, you're doing real good. I just want you to dance with me tonight. Yeah, give it a whirl. Oh, I knew it could, you girl. I just want you to dance with me tonight. Yeah, I just want you to dance with me tonight. Yeah, I just want you to dance with me tonight.
All right, come on, baby. Oh, my producer's bopping over there, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk
Well,
about this song, honey.
I'll be happy to. For those that do not know, the Circle went back into the studio. Actually, we started right during the first week of what would turn out to be COVID, March of 2020.
Okay.
And we did cut a few songs from that first couple of sessions before we broke the project down, and we didn't get back together for well over a year. During that window, on that specific song, I had been tracking content that I thought might be good for the album after we got back in the studio. And I came across that song. It was a #1 hit record in England. Big hit. And a guy named Ollie, Muir Murs, he has 2 dots over the I. Ollie he had recorded it. It was a big hit. That was in 2012. So I researched the song. I saw that the song, which I thought the song was great.
It is.
And I researched the song and saw that in the United States it didn't go anywhere. It was on the Billboard chart, never peaking higher than the 1 week it was on, 112. And so I thought, here is a song that nobody knows. So I sent it to Don. Now Don is somebody who I've asked him often, why was Red Rubber Ball, the signature song for the Circle, such a significant hit? And Don's answer is the song has magic. And he says, you can't plan on magic. You just have to recognize when it's there and take advantage of it. And so I said, well, Don, I'm going to send you this song, the Ollie Moore's version, and said, tell me if you think it has magic. And he comes back to me and says, absolutely does. We really need to put this song on the album. And so we recorded it probably, I'm just guessing, maybe 23 or 4. We were obviously out of COVID by that point. And they gave me an opportunity to be the lead vocalist. And I'm so proud of our version. I think our version really is so, I'm not taking anything away from Ollie at all, but I kind of like our version more than his. on it. And it's the only time in my life, I've been in studios for a lot of years, over 40 years. I've never seen a studio come to life with all the band members and the people in the room all being so excited about how the song was coming together and how it came out. And it's been released now. It's the current single by the CYRKLE. It's been released, to my knowledge, to 3,000 radio stations. But there's a lot more radio stations that don't have it yet. And so anything you can do to help promote it, and all
Well, we're going to be playing it on Hamilton Radio, that's for sure.
Oh, wonderful. That's really good,
absolutely.
because I do want to see that song kind of put the CYRKLE back into the viral mindset of the country. And I think that song appeals to people beyond my generation. It appeals to generations behind me. And that's really what makes a hit in today's world. And I do think that particular song has that merit and can do that.
Well, so I love your version better.
Oh,
I
thank
knew
you.
the other version. I mean,
Yeah.
to us, it was popular in the tri-state area.
Right.
We used to, in our schools, oldie dances and all that, they played it. So I knew the
Absolutely.
song. So when you were telling me, like, it really didn't make I was like, I don't understand it. We all knew it.
Right. So my guess is it's a business decision and not a case of the song not being received well by the country. I mean, it takes money to promote
Right.
a song.
That's probably what went on, because the tri-state
Yeah.
area, we had it.
Absolutely right. And yet, you're the only region of the United States that I'm aware of that recognizes the song, because we do
Yes.
talk about the song. And everywhere we go and everywhere we're playing, the people are reacting to the song we're getting as much response from the audience as we do for Red Rubber Ball. And the reason is they hear a song for the first time and they really like it. They don't realize it's a 12-year-old or 13-year-old song, whatever the math is.
Wow, I was singing it when I was playing it. I'm singing. I'm like, oh my God, I love this song. I know it.
Yeah.
So, all
Yeah.
right.
I'm very, very proud of it. There's
It's
a couple
amazing.
of vocal moments that I do in there that just happened in the booth. And
Oh my gosh.
and when I came out, my first time, that was a one take, by the way. I sang it one time. I
Amazing.
came out and said, I can do this better. And everybody just goes, no.
Right. I agree with them.
No.
No. That's
Just leave it be.
amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
all
you.
right. So now let's play song number 2, producer, and then we're going to talk
Sure.
about song number 2.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that is an amazing song.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's much too groovy a summer's day to waste running round in the city. But here on the sand, I can dream away or look at the girls if they're pretty. It's a turn down day, nothing on my mind. It's a turn down day, and I dig it. There's nothing easier I can do than lying around doing nothing. It's a turn down day, just a turn round day. It's a turn down day, and I dig it. Soft summer breeze and the surf rolls in to laughter of small children playing. Someone's radio has the news tuned in, but nobody cares what he's saying. Don't you know it's a turn down day? Nothing on my mind. It's a turn down day, and I dig it. Things that are waiting to mess my mind will just have to wait till tomorrow. It's a turn down day, just a turn round day. It's a turn down day, and I dig it. It's a turn down day, nothing on my mind. It's a turn down day, just a turn-round day. It's a turn-down day, just a turn-round day, yeah, 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 turn-down day. Nothing on my mind, turn-down day.
Tell us about this song.
Absolutely. So this is the Circle's very lucky and blessed to have two signature songs. This is the second of the two. The song's title, if you didn't gather, is called Turn Down Day. It charted in 1966 as high as 16 and did very well, by the way, in Canada and Australia and other countries that appreciated the English versions of songs. And written by a guy named Geri Keller and David Bloom. And it was a demo sent to the band. And it's so different for a song in 1966. The music world doesn't catch up with that song until maybe the early 70s. It was so uniquely created that it was just something very special. The Circle's mentality was to try to somewhat match what was coming out of England through the Beatles and also what Brian Wilson was doing in the Beach Boys out in California. And they all were paying very much attention to it and trying to create unique sounds. And you can hear on both, you'll hear a sitar. In '66, sitar was just being introduced to the world. And here's the Circle also putting that into their song. And I also think the keyboard, and that, by the way, that version you're hearing is called the 21st Century version of that song. So when we went back into the studio and we knew we had to put out an album, we knew we wanted to put out an album, but we wanted to be sure that we could attract historic fans of the band. So we re-recorded this song in Red Rubber Ball, which I suspect is going to be coming up in this program. But that's the current Circle performing. And what we tried to do is be as true to those to the originals as we could, and we still, of course, had Dan Eman being the lead vocalist. He produced both of those songs because he was obviously the guy who knew how to do that for those two.
Amazing.
And it's a good song for the band to this very day. It's a great piece of writing.
This is amazing. Wow. All right, I'm on cloud nine.
Oh, we didn't write that song by the Temptations, if you're asking. Never mind.
I get it. All right, so now we're going to play our third song, everybody.
Yeah, sure.
Here we go, guys.
I should have known you'd bid me farewell. There's a lesson to be learned from this, and I learned it very well. Now I know you're not the only starfish in the sea. If I never hear your name again, it's all the same to me. And I think it's gonna be alright. Yeah, the worst is over now. The morning sun is shining like a red rubber ball. You never cared for secrets I confide. For you I'm just an ornament, something for your pride. Always running, never caring, that's the life you live. Stolen minutes of your time were all you had to give. And I think it's gonna be alright. Yeah, the worst is over now. The morning sun is shining like a red rubber ball. The stories in the past with nothing to recall. I got my life to live, and I don't need you at all. The roller coaster ride we took is nearly at an end. I bought my ticket with my tears, that's all I'm gonna spend. And I think it's gonna be alright. Yeah, the worst is over now. The morning sun is shining like a red rubber ball. Oh, I think it's gonna be alright. Yeah, the worst is over now. The morning sun is shining like a red rubber ball.
it is, guys. Talk about
That
the
is,
song.
yeah, even Don didn't realize when the band recorded that in '66 at Columbia, he just thought it was a nice, neat song. He thought it was catchy. And, he knew it was a good song and it had magic. He said in 1990 he was on an airplane and the Circle's greatest hits album was being compiled by an entity, and they sent it to Don. And he said, as soon as I listened to Red Rubber Ball for the first time in a great long time, he goes, that song's really got something that's very special. And we have found, and most of it's very moving. I mean, that's a song that I know a little bit about your background. It's a song that could be very meaningful to a person like yourself, because almost inevitably the message is I'm dealing with something that's very, very hard on me, whether it would be a divorce, concern for substances. Could it be a job you just lost, or a breakup in high school? It covers all generations. It also we were in Tucson, and we were doing our meet and greet, and a fellow walked up in a Vietnam jacket, and he had a Vietnam cap on, and he had signature flags and stuff on him. And he comes up and says, "I just wanted to thank you." And we said, "Okay, why?" He says, because of Red. He said we had a tape recorder, a battery operated tape recorder. We had 4 songs on the tape. That's all we had. And he said one of those 4 was Red Rubber Ball. And he said it was Red Rubber Ball that got us through the bush. That's how he explained it. Every day he's going out to fight. He's hiding in the bush of Vietnam, the weeds and the fields. And he said we would come back, and he knew evidently that the morning sun was going to shine. And I'm not making this up. We started to tear up, and we're saying, dude, we thank you. I'm blushing telling you the story right now. I can feel it again. The song just has some kind of universal touch of a soul that most songs aren't able to do. The Beatles managed it pretty effectively, but for many of the other acts, you just occasionally are able to get inside the heart and soul of a being. And Red Rubber Ball has accomplished that. And so it's a huge moment in our show when that song is presented to the people viewing us that night. Wow. And that is also the songs you've heard are all from the new album. The album's called Revival, released by Big Stir Records in Los Angeles. And Revival features the current lineup. So the all 3 songs you've heard are the current CYRKLE 21st century version of the band. And there you go.
How can they get the album?
Well, it's okay. So it's available in any internet store around the world. If you would like a hard copy, I don't think I'd have to ask Big Stir about their marketing exercises beyond the internet. But if you just go to the CYRKLE.com, CYRKLE, and thecircle.com, you can just request one, buy it. We'll send it to you. And we will assign a small shipping charge, but beyond that, you can get that album. We also have a live album. If you didn't know, when the CYRKLE's very first show after our revival in 2016, we filmed it for promo purposes and we recorded it. And we liked the recording so much that we just had it mixed and whatever you do and created a live album. And that's the first time anybody had heard the CYRKLE live perform on record or tape, other than the things you saw on the radio or heard on the radio.
Amazing.
So that album's out too. That's a neat one. There's a lot of great crowd response to all of those songs because the people in the audience are going, we never thought we'd see the CYRKLE again.
Okay.
And we have 2 surviving members. If you didn't know, Mike Loskamp is the other of the original 5 that were in the CYRKLE. And sadly, we lost the drummer, Marty Freed, right after COVID. And then Tom Dawes died during a medical procedure back, I think, in '07. Okay. I apologize for not remembering that. Okay. On it. So, and Earl Pickens is still alive and well, and we just saw Earl's a great guy, really nice man, but he's been a surgeon. He just retired from being a surgeon. In fact, when I was trying to reunite the CYRKLE, I had Mike Loskamp, who lived in Columbus, and I worked with him when I had my day job with AT&T. Mike also had an AT, and that's how we first met. So I had a keyboard position open in my local band, and I asked Mike to join, and he did. And then after I had Mike, I thought, wouldn't it be something if we could reunite the CYRKLE? So I went on a 7-month mission to try to find the survivors, and they were all over the eastern half of the U.S. that were still alive at that time. And it took me. I found the first person I found was Marty Freed. He was a successful You're going to love these career paths these guys took. Marty was a successful lawyer in the tax arena in Southfield, Michigan. And when I finally found him, I bothered him quite a bit. He would not take my calls. He wouldn't answer my emails. But one day he did. He just says, "Look, I know what you're trying to accomplish. He says, I'm doing great. I have a great job. Haven't played my drums in 30 years. I'm out. Hey, do you know where Don Daneman's at? No, I don't know. Okay. Mike didn't know where Daneman was at. I finally found Earl Pickens. He was, as I said, a very successful surgeon. He was in Gainesville, Florida. I really knew that he couldn't quit his job to go be in a band. So I had to find Don Daneman. I already knew Tom Dawes had passed away. Daneman had a company on his own for writing jingles. He and Tom Dawes, the deceased band member, both competed against each other often for commercials. So Don wrote the 7-Up song, the Uncola. If you remember that song.
Yes, come on.
Yeah, that's Don Daneman writing, and he wrote a lot of really famous commercials that you heard but didn't know it was him. And Tom Dawes gets credit for writing, at least in my opinion, the most recognized. I'll let you finish the commercial to show you how well this is, folks. He writes this 50 years ago, but all right, Jerry, are you ready? Plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Oh, what a relief it is.
And that's
For
Tom
real?
Dawes from the Circle. So those two gentlemen had really good careers in the ad jingle business, and I couldn't find Don anywhere. I seen a couple of videos where he'd been maybe asked to join a band on stage and do Red Rubber Ball, but I couldn't find him. And I mean, I looked and looked, and Mike didn't know anything. Nobody would tell me about Don. And finally, I actually went out and bought a software package that I paid a monthly fee for. And Jerry, I probably could type your name in and tell you all the childhood, young adult telephone
Please
numbers that you
do
had.
that. Please do that for me.
Okay, sure.
Because I'll give
I'll
you
do
my
it.
real name off air.
Off air.
Please do that for me because I wanted to do something like that. All right.
Yeah. So I don't have that software anymore, but I can
right.
still get you some info that can get
All
you
right.
to do things like that.
All right, cool.
But I went over to Mike Loweskamp's house, and I am just peppering him with questions like, Mike, did he have any girlfriends that you would know? Did you know his? Mike says I haven't talked to him in 50 years. I don't know. And I pulled up my computer, and I recalled that he and Don Daneman and his wife Eileen had written a song after John Lennon had been assassinated. And Eileen Daneman, I never thought to look up her. So I look her up, and she's got 6 telephone numbers attached to her. And I'm sitting at Mike's kitchen table, and I start dialing, and I dialed all of them. And on the 6th and last one, a woman on the answers. And I said, by any chance are you Eileen Daneman? And she says, I am. And I said, well, I am Pat McLoughlin, and I've got a business proposition I'd like to extend to your husband. May I speak with Don? And boy, the call gets really dark then. She's angry. She doesn't. She and Don haven't been married in a long time, and she uses some choice words on me. Just really kind of lets me have it. Okay. And I, in retrospect, didn't. I mean, I think I did a good thing. I didn't say a word. I just kind of let her rattle her comments at me. And when she was finally felt like it was done, I said, I didn't call to get you mad. I really am sorry. And she stopped and she says, you know what? We did have a son together. I'm going to give you his mobile phone. She said, do not call him, but send him a text message and see what he will do with it from there. Okay. And I said, okay. So I did just that. And the next morning, my phone goes off and it's a message from Don's son. And it just simply read, give me Mike Loweskamp's telephone number. Okay. And I thought, oh my God, we actually are now really close to Don, and good for his son, because they don't know me. I could be a nutcase. They don't know me, but they do know Mike Lowekamp. So I gave him Loweskamp's number and a lot of other information just to let them know I was legit.
Yes, good.
And 3 days later, Mike called me back and said, you're not going to believe this, but I just talked to Don. Oh my God, what was that like? He said, Pat, it was really weird because we haven't talked in 50 years, but he said he's interested. And eventually we had 2 business phone calls. The entire band did conference calls with him twice, roughly 90 minutes each call. Only talked about business for the most part. No art questions, no musical questions. Okay. And at the end of the second call, Don said, you guys just seem like really nice men. And there's just a second or two pause. He goes, I'm in.
Okay.
And so we flew him to Columbus, Ohio, where the band is at. We put him up at a Hilton. We bought his airplane ticket, got him a row seat because that's what he wanted. We paid for his bags, and we met him on a Sunday evening and we had a meet and greet with the rest of the band, including Mike. And then the next day we took photos, and then we went back and practiced for the first time as a band. Now I got to tell you one other story there also. And here's the little nut.
You got 5 more minutes with your story. Come on.
Okay, I'll do it fast for you, but thank you. So in the practice session, Don wanted us to try to do the song called "Feeling Groovy," a Paul Simon song, also known as the 59th Street Bridge song. And what I had already known, but the band did not know, is that the CYRKLE was extended that song before Harper's Bazaar. It was Paul Simon actually in the studio with Don Damon and says, "I've got this song that would be perfect for the CYRKLE," and they listened to it and they chose not to record it. And so it becomes a big hit, a #1 hit for in some markets. And Don, gosh, Don, I think likes what he's hearing here. And so we said, well, sure, we'll just do it. So we did it the first time, and our drummer Scott Langley when we finished, he put his head down on his drum kit for a moment or two, and when he rose his head back up, he goes, "If nothing else happens from this experience, that song was worth everything we have done because we nailed it." And it's on the new CYRKLE album, it's on the live album, and we knew right then that Don was happy as well, wanted to be in the band. And one other comment I'll tell you is after Scott said his remarks, I said, "Now I know why the CYRKLE sounds the way it does, Don. It's you." But the other thing that happened that was really weird is the local band, the Gas Pump Jockeys, still together 25 years after Cimarron, when we did that song, our band suddenly turned into the CYRKLE also. And we don't know how that happened. And so we are able to recreate almost anything that the CYRKLE does with Don that we probably didn't have the skills before, even with Mike in the band. So there was some divine intervention, whatever that happened in that moment. There was magic again, I will tell you that. Magic landed in that practice. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. I will give my thank yous to in a few minutes.
Oh, sure.
I want to read a poem out of my book.
Okay.
Okay. And it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And I
Okay.
like reading this when I do entertainers. Okay. Here we
All
go.
right.
We are born with talents. We are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry, and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used. God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like these guys are doing. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, baby, the CYRKLE, will live forever, forever and a day. So
Wow.
go through life excited for what you
Yeah.
sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So
Yeah.
make sure people smile with the breaking dawn.
So having no idea you were going to read that poem, I buy in entirely with this, with not only the talent commentary, and you use your talents to get you to different places along the way. And it all starts to come together, and suddenly I'm in the CYRKLE and people are getting experiences that they never thought they could get again.
And
Pretty cool.
I want to say something about Pat right now, everybody. So if you've listened to his story, his parents were not okay with him doing any music. He finally did it. He was in his 20s. 27, is that right?
Right. Well, I got my first guitar at 27.
He got his first guitar. So listen, guys, and look where he is now. All right, guys, so listen, nothing is impossible, okay?
Oh, I agree.
Always, always, always follow your dreams, no matter what people say. Please follow your dreams. Pat, I want to thank you so much.
Oh,
This
well, I'm
was-
patting my heart here. You can't tell it, but
This was incredible. I want
Oh,
to
thank
thank
you.
you so much for this interview. It was amazing.
Well,
Um,
very nice.
Everyone, please share this show. Okay. I'm just like on cloud nine, and thank you for
Oh,
honoring me on the Geri Petito Show and here in Hamilton Radio. And I am so honored. Thank you
well, so am
so
I.
much,
Tell
Pat.
tell Ruben how much I appreciate his behind the scenes
Yep,
efforts.
there he is.
All right, buddy. Nice work. Hey, Jerry, thank you for this honor.
This was so great.
Thank you,
Okay,
Pat.
thank you. You bet, Ruben.
It's
Okay,
nice
Ruben.
meeting you.
Take us
Nice.
out.
Thank you too. Bye bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.